Welcome, everyone, to Tuesdays with Tim, featuring Randy Watt's 50,000 watt station, Momonomo, and Gene Judson's 1200 candle power ladder daily digest. And we're here to chat about what would have to happen to go back to the Mormon Church. And I wondered if I could have phrased it. What changes would the church have to make in order to go back? Because I was talking to somebody and they were saying, well, Jesus would have to come back and say the Mormon Church was true, right? And I was thinking, well, that's not going to happen because there's maybe no Jesus, right?
Various reasons.
But for anyhow, what changes would the church have to make? It's like if I was younger, the church would have to bring back the sports program. There would have to be a strong sports program.
Yes.
To make me want to go back.
Yeah.
And so we could tie that in with like the youth program would have to be strong. There had to be dances, there had to be activities. And it would be for my grandkids now. so I could go watch them play and do things, right? Watch them do activities.
You know what sucks is when you're 66 years old and you smile and you realize your smile is crooked. I never knew that.
What are you going to do with? What are you going to do about it now?
Maybe I had a stroke because I just started noticing it like a year ago. It's like, wait, my smile is kind of crooked.
Yeah, you're starting to look like Trump.
Yeah. Everyone mistakes us. Yeah.
Of course,
nope.
Somebody says if you put a mirror, whatever, here and you only look at like one half of your face repeated, that you wouldn't really even recognize yourself because
that's right.
Both sides of our face are sufficiently
It's not
different.
Asymmetrical. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. We're not mere images.
You know what I hate is when you're feeling kind of good about yourself, about the condition you're in, and then you pass a mirror or a big window unexpectedly, and you see a shot of yourself from the side, and it's like, crap. I don't look anything like I'm supposed to.
Yeah. Right. The other thing that happens to me is I see somebody all dumpy looking, wearing sweatpants and a tie-dye shirt, and I say, what a crappy look. And then I look down and that's what I'm wearing, sweatpants and tie-dye shirt.
Yeah, and you were in the temple at the time, right?
I was tie-dyeing in the temple.
Oh boy.
Well, I'm glad that Lisa Biteme's with us. I'm wondering where the rest of the group is.
Where's everybody? Come out, wherever you are.
Hello.
Well, Songs is sick, but she might comment.
You can never be too sick to listen.
So, Tim, what things would the church have to do?
Protect the children.
Protect the children. You want to read what Megan said?
What Megan said. Megan said.
It was pretty clever.
Protect kids, full stop. I would go back if I could have the calling of doing background checks on all of the leadership and reporting from the pulpit any offenders in the congregation. It would have to be an area calling, and I would travel around to all of the wards.
Wow, that's not too far off from what mine is.
What's yours?
Well, we can discuss Megan's first because I don't want to go off on another tangent. But I think that would be an incredible position to have someone who, well, we talked about this before actually, to have someone that can monitor everyone who comes into the ward, do a background check on them, see what callings they're worthy for. What callings do they qualify for? Instead of just throwing everyone willy-nilly in there and saying, I hope they're not a sex offender.
Well, they do an assessment of what people do in the ward. They have you I never did this, but they have, from what I understand, they have people fill out a form to tell them what their talents are, and then that's how they call people according to their talents.
We need to know a little more than what talents they have.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
Because I don't want
Randy, how does that tie into your idea?
Well, see, my idea is, and I had this fantasy when I was on my mission, that there would come a day of the destruction of the great and abominable church. And while that was happening, I was hoping that I would get a call from the prophet to accept a calling. And it would be the, what did I call myself? Something like the Terminator, but it wasn't the Terminator. But but I would receive in the mail this briefcase, something that looks like it might hold a large musical instrument. And I open it up, and it's this beautiful golden baseball bat. And I can just feel the energy on it as I hold it up. And my assignment is to find the predators who are hurting the children, the wife beaters, the domestic violence people, those who are damaging their spouses or children. I get the report and I go to their address and I knock on the door and I say, "Hi, I'm Randy. Is Keith here?"
So there.
Yeah. And when they walk out to the door, I say, "Hey, can I get you to step out? I want to show you this," and have something with their name on it. And then once they get out, I just freaking pummel their ass. Just
Randy as
break
the
both
avenging
knees.
angel.
Yeah.
What I found out about wife beaters is they are cowards.
Right? That's why I wouldn't tell them who I was until they're finding out that they can no longer walk, because I've shattered both kneecaps. And they'll be like that for the rest of their lives. It'll always hurt. And they'll remember that day when Randy showed up at their house.
Yeah.
Randy the publisher or Randy the Punisher?
The Punisher.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the
How do
name
you
again?
mean Punisher?
The Equalizer. The Equalizer.
Okay,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Equalizer.
Yeah.
They
The
made a movie
Equalizer.
about you.
Oh, is there a movie called The Equalizer?
There is.
Oh.
Denzel Washington plays you. in it.
Oh, well, see, someone got a hold of my idea and they're already making a movie about it.
I thought you were going to say you were expecting a call from the prophet saying clothing is now optional. That's
Okay, listen, if the prophet himself said everybody go naked, I wouldn't set foot out of this house naked, because trust me, no one wants to see that.
So let's see. So Tim, as a historian, what would you want the church to do?
Open up the archives, let people see everything Quorum of the 12 First Presidency up until the last 5 years or so. The RLDS, Community of Christ, that's what they do. All of their records are open except for the last, I don't know anymore, but when I was there back in the 80s, they told me that people could see everything except for, I think it was the last 5 years of notes. So just open it all up, let people see and come in and read whatever they wanted to read.
The publisher.
The publisher.
Beware, Randy, the publisher is here.
That's right. He's going to broadcast.
Come out here and I'm
various
going to
deeds.
publish your book.
Publish to one and all your bad deeds. It's almost like, what is that, where you can see on the website all the perpetrators?
Right? Yeah.
Is that somebody's list?
Chart?
Megan's Law.
Megan's Law. Yeah.
In California. I don't know what it is. Or is that
So, yeah.
Maybe it's nationwide.
So Tim, you'd want there to be honesty in church history.
Yes.
Oh, would that really get you back, Tim?
We're piecing together something, Randy.
I have a list.
We're
You
not saying
saw my
one
list.
thing.
Okay.
You saw my list.
So that's
Okay.
just a list. Gotcha.
That's just that's two things. The third one would be finances. They'd have
Clarity.
to open up the
What do you call that?
financial
Openness.
clarity, openness.
Yeah, transparency.
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 That's the one thing that would get me back no matter what else, is if they said, hey, come on back, we're going to divide up our $300 billion and
Yeah.
all of you get a piece of it.
Right.
Well, yeah, they could say, hey, Randy, you donated $30,000 one time. Let me tell you what we did. We invested it, and here's $100,000. We've been like the worthy servant, right? That hasn't hid his talent under a bushel. We've invested, we've grown, we prayed what stocks we'd have to buy with Randy's money in order to nurture it and grow it and make it valuable someday.
We are live, Allie. That's the 30,000, but that was just my last tithing check. If
Right,
we're
I
gonna
know.
do this, I want my whole,
whole
every
thing.
bit of tithing I've ever paid.
I would say, there are building expenses,
Yeah.
so I don't need it all back, right? I got value. And Hallie was actually asking Peter if the other show was live.
Oh, gotcha.
Because Peter talked about how on Inside and Out with Jim Bennett and Ian Wilkes, they had Jacob Hansen on. So I'm going to definitely watch that later.
Oh, interesting.
At some point.
Jacob Hansen.
Okay.
So along the lines of the finances, so we would want to know what's going on with the money, right? And if they didn't want to give it all back, right? If they maybe use some of the money to pay bishops for their time and Relief Society presidents. Right. And speaking of paying Relief Society presidents, Randy, what do you think? Would the church need to incorporate some sort of equality in leadership and allow women leadership positions, and maybe even allow the women to have administrative priesthood along with the men?
You know what? I'd let them run the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
I really would.
Women are better administrators than men.
Sure are.
That's a given.
And men do some things good. So, and I think there would be good as a team, right? Because everybody has strengths and weaknesses, but to right off the bat eliminate half of them just because of their sex is not really a good thing. So yeah, and open the temples up, right, to more people.
Yes.
But at the same time, not claim that anything that they do in anything is do it, or if you don't do this, you won't go to heaven, kind of a thing.
Right.
Let everybody know Joseph Smith was trying to do some ordinances, some rituals, some rites of passage that would be meaningful, and they don't have any eternal meanings to anything, any eternal value. That they should be doing things that help us on earth. And that's one thing, is that the church should help us on earth. So Sunday school class should actually be educational. It shouldn't be the same things every 4 years, same lessons, and same answers. Read your scriptures, pray, and what else? Attend your meetings.
Pray, and obey.
And how about along with opening up the temples to everyone? Let's eliminate the whole temple ceremony, because it's just it's very culty. Let's make them homes for the, we can either make them party houses, or we can make them homes for the needy, who not to live in, but to come and take food and have warmth, and in the summertime get a little cool. A resting spot, a resting spot for the weary.
Okay.
Sanctuary.
That's right. That's the word I was looking for.
Let's see, what else would they have to do? They would have to teach people that that Jesus, however you want to say it, is in all likelihood
not real.
Like Paul Bunyan, like Tom Thumb.
Yes.
Although Tom Thumb there was a real Tom Thumb. But anyway,
What about Johnny Appleseed?
like Johnny Appleseed, sort of an embellishment, right? Johnny
Embellished.
Appleseed was
real.
Was real, but maybe didn't plant all the apples everywhere that he's credited with. But what do you know about Johnny Appleseed's religion, Tim? Swedenborgian.
Thank you. Yeah, I was attempting to remember that when you said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Swedenborg. Yeah.
So that is very interesting. I wish they would have said that in our history books.
Yeah.
Then I would have said, what the hell is a Swedenborgian? And I might have looked it up. And then I might have found out that 75 years before the Doctrine and Covenants said something about celestial inheritance, Swedenborg was talking about a celestial kingdom.
I'm just curious about this. It has nothing to do with the church, but I don't know exactly who's real and who isn't. Pretty sure Alice in Wonderland isn't real. But what about Daniel Boone?
He was real.
So yeah, but he was embellished. A lot of the stories were
Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone were both real.
They were both real?
Right.
Yeah.
What about the Lone Ranger? And Tonto?
He's made up.
Made up.
He's just a story. He's made up.
Yeah. And so if you try to say, what is the value of some of the teachings that are in the New Testament, instead of saying you have to learn these by rote, and if you don't believe that Jesus walked on water or turned water into wine or did anything, then you're not one of us.
That's how the Episcopals are.
And have a big tent and have people believe what you want, but here, let's all share with good stories. How do we love one another? How do we do the good things?
Right.
Well, what about let's do away with the whole damn word of wisdom thing, because that's got no merit in my book.
Or base it on science. Make it a science-based thing, right? A lot of Mormons believe that God, because the priesthood restored, all the advancements that we've had, like airplanes, computers, all of those things are, the airplanes are so that the apostles can go travel throughout the world and preach the gospel. The computers are so that we can keep track of everything and do the work for the dead better, right?
Yeah.
Well, then science can help us do the word of wisdom better too. So make everything based on, science to, a large degree, right?
Yes.
Well, that's a good point. But, I think that they should also come up with a list to read in general conference of apologies.
That is a great one.
A list of apologies.
Yes. List of apologies.
Well, let's make the list.
Okay. Well, let's start off to the victims of the Mountain Meadow Massacre and their families. There's one.
That's a good one.
It's a good one.
They could go back even farther to apologize to the people that lost money in the bank in Kirtland
Society,
the anti-bank.
There you go.
And then apologize to. Go ahead, Randy.
Go ahead, because of course, I'm thinking of the blacks.
Yes.
Priesthood.
Yes, the blacks and the priesthood.
That's a huge apology they deserve.
And there's different facets about that too, right? Saying that they were fence sitters. So let's apologize for that.
Right.
The fact that they called it the, so-called ban on priesthood, but it was really the whole temple blessings for all of African descent. So women couldn't go to the temple. Jane Manning James was sealed to Joseph Smith as a servant, but by proxy, somebody else, while Jane Manning James was standing outside the temple, somebody else went in there and said, I am standing in for Jane Manning James. Right, Tim?
Yeah, but you got to think about how many Negroes have temple work been done for, gotten the priest and everything, before the ban was lifted, and they didn't know it.
Yeah.
Right?
And maybe we apologize to the handicapped people. Who was the prophet that said that they were the
Harold B. Lee.
Was it Harold B. Lee? Yeah,
I think so.
if someone comes to the earth with a handicap, it's because they weren't valiant in the pre-existence.
That's right.
It was either Harold B. Lee or Joseph F. Fielding Smith.
One of those peckerheads.
One of those two. One of those.
Yeah.
That means they basically they were thinking that somebody was in heaven looking over at somebody's good deeds or bad deeds in the pre-existence and saying, somebody without a spine is being born. Randy, you over there, you're going down to earth.
You'll be in a wheelchair. Yeah.
You got a wheelchair the rest of your life just because you were so shitty up here. We kept on telling you to stop erasing the chalkboard and you couldn't stop. So we're putting you in a wheelchair your whole time. And then if you think about it, I mean, the poor children in Africa that are starving to death all the time, that would be even double, right?
Right.
They not only get the blessings of the temple, but they also were so bad in the pre-existence that they get to starve to death in Africa or Asia or wherever.
Right. Yeah.
Or have to put up with Tim, like whoever Tim's siblings were.
He was pretty rough on him, wasn't he? On everybody. Whoever knows Tim has had their feelings hurt greatly by him because he's really out to hurt people. Another huge apology needs to go to the LGBTQ community, not just for their past shit, but think of the denials that so many of them have had. Their kids couldn't be baptized because they had same-sex parents, and all of the outreach. Apologize to the families for counseling the families not to allow their gay kids to stay overnight in their home, and don't take them out and introduce them to friends because we don't want to have the appearance of acceptance with our gay kids. And that's straight from the mouth of our prophet, who he wasn't prophet at the time, but he was an apostle.
And apologize to that girl who was taken off the stand for saying that God made her the way she is.
Freaking A. Exactly.
What was her name?
And then the Mormon atheist talking about apologies to the indigenous peoples. They were hijacked, right? Their history was hijacked, and they had great cultures in America. And instead, it's like, oh, nope, they're Lamanites. They were Jews. The only good thing about indigenous people in America were that they were Jews.
You know what? And the natives also had to put up with that mark of Cain crap, because they were not righteous. They weren't white and delightsome. Oh my gosh. The church would spend every session of General Conference making all these apologies that they really owe to these different cultures.
So they've had 200 years of General Conference, and now they're going to have 200 years of apologies in General Conference.
Right. And let's apologize to all the historians that brought things out that were true, that they were excommunicated for.
Right.
Exactly.
That's an apology that's needed.
That's a big one.
That's right. And apologize to Kate Kelly for getting excommunicated just because she was a woman that had a thought and dared speak it out loud.
Right.
That's a sin.
The ordained women's movement.
That's a sin.
And apologize to old gal who wrote, the granddaughter. Fawn Brody, yeah. Apologize to her for excommunicating her for telling the truth.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
And let's apologize to all of the alcohol companies who didn't have the benefit of LDS people buying their products. cigarette manufacturers.
And all the tea manufacturers and coffee.
Well, yeah, and let's apologize for the church thinking that they know what childhood development and sexual development should be, and making it a sin. The church needs to get out of the bedroom, no matter what.
Out of the
No
bedroom.
kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about we apologize to all of the missionaries who served for 2 years with having to pay for their own missions, sacrificing their time, getting a late start in life for what? For going out and spreading the lies. How about just apologizing to the missionaries?
That's right. And not on top of that, the missionaries couldn't really look at the other sex missionaries and have any thoughts in their heads. But now they can.
Now they can.
Now they can.
Right.
Now they can.
Yay! Now everyone wants to go on a mission.
That's right. Brigham Young was into alcohol, we'll say.
Yes, he drank. He had wine. He had his wine. He had his winery down in St. George. Well, it wasn't until Heber J. Grant that the word of wisdom became.
That's right. Apologize to the women for having the men design their underwear.
Yes.
And making and not caring about the health of women and the how their appearance is makes them feel bad.
Yeah, good point, Gene. Apologize to them for making them wear those damn garments.
Yeah.
Sorry to all of you people who lived in freaking Arizona or anywhere hot or anywhere.
Right. Apologize to the people who have been SA'd in the church.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry we didn't do background checks.
And apologize for covering up. Like,
Right.
we shouldn't have covered up. Right. We should have come clean. We should have done what is right and let the consequence follow. Just like the hymn says.
Release everybody from their NDAs.
Right? Yeah. And how about apologizing to all of the poor people in the world who could have been helped so much with all of the money that the LDS Church has and keeps control of? How about apologizing to the victims of tragedies and the lack of helping feeding his sheep? How about that? We apologize for, sorry, didn't get the sheep fed, but we invested heavily in the weapons of war and arms.
Yeah.
That's right.
And we're just getting started.
And the church would need to maybe have 10 or 12 lessons in a row telling people that the people who stopped going to church had good reasons for not going to church. And we want you to know that Jesus said to love everybody, and they weren't apostates. Tim, on the other hand, second thoughts about that, right? Go ahead and judge Tim still. But all the other people that you stopped talking to just because they stopped going to church or they told you they read the CES letter or something like that. So you were taught to soft shun, right?
Right.
How about
and remember, Tim remembers this. I don't know if you saw clippings or if you ever remember it, but when somebody would get excommunicated, they'd print it in the paper.
And the church news up until the 80s.
They'd make him confess to the ward, the priesthood brethren. I remember when they dismissed the deacons and teachers, and the Melchizedek priesthood stayed in, and the excommunicatee would have to get up and apologize for his sins.
Public humiliation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And good point, Songs. Another one for the Rock in the Hat.
Rock in the Hat.
Yeah. Apologize for the lies.
Yeah.
How about we apologize to all of those who lost their children, who lost their spouses, who died themselves because they gave us this false hope of the priesthood blessings that, don't worry about the medicine. We have the priesthood. And like I've always said, and you guys have heard me say it 100 times, if these apostles and the prophet truly speak in the name of God with the authority of God and can act in his name, then tell me why they don't go to the children's hospitals from room to room and heal these little kids with
Give them
leukemia
blessings.
and cancer. And bless them into health.
Maybe the administrators told people, hey, don't let any of the church leaders touch any of our kids.
Yeah, because
they have a
because
bad
we'll
rep.
go broke.
No, because of essaying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they
yeah.
have to be accompanied.
Yeah.
That too.
Yep. And that they lied to us about discernment.
Yeah.
Now, it's one thing to be mindful and to pray and be together and as a family and doing things just for the camaraderie and to be with somebody that's in need, of people around them, instead of saying, have faith that you're going to be healed. And if you don't get healed, you probably didn't have enough faith. Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So
a lot of gaslighting apologies.
What are we going to do about marriage? Are we going to have open marriages?
That's a good thought. Yeah,
Are we
apologize to all the families who couldn't attend the weddings of their daughters and loved ones.
Daughters and sons. Yeah.
Oh,
so Jesus set the example because he didn't heal everybody in the entire land who had illness. So there you go.
Okay.
Well, that would be tough for one guy. But he did heal. He did heal those he came in contact with. He healed the blind
called
man.
apostles to go do miracles.
Lazarus, he rose from the dead, Yeah, he did. I'm sure he did what he could, but then he didn't go around bragging that he could do it either. He didn't go around saying, look, hey, everybody, look what I can do. Like our modern day apostles and prophets and, who claim they have the power to act in God's name.
To boast. They boast.
Yeah.
They don't even boast about it anymore.
So, yes, Randy said if healings worked, why don't they go to the primary children's hospital or something like that? And also, if Gomorrah, I understand that Utah is only 4th in the healthiest states, and the number 1 state is Vermont. And so whatever religion is the most in Vermont is probably true because they have better health, whatever it is. And we're joined by Kendall. Thanks, Kendall.
Hi, Kendall.
Hi, Kendall. Welcome. Do you have any apologies that you feel the church needs to extend to those who they've hurt? Or you're not hearing me?
Ken, are you getting your stuff ready? Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's able to hear.
He's concentrating on something.
He's meditating.
Yeah, so he could go into the chat, the private chat, and tell us if he needs something.
How about we apologize to all those who have been subjected to violence, to damage, being hurt, being killed in and around the temple or the church for not having proper, adequate security? Because I guarantee you, we don't hear about all the things.
Could be something. And actually, I want to suggest or ask, why is Gomorrah, that since this is about things that can be improved on in the Mormon Church, if you have something that you think could be good above and beyond of what we're saying, or if you think everything's perfect, all is right in Zion, go ahead and say that. That's okay too. But you can respond to that.
everyone's opinions are certainly welcome, and we respect them all. Unless you have anything bad to say about me, then
So I think the Mormon
I don't
atheist is
respect
saying we should apologize. They should apologize for the guy that wrote the book that caused everybody to think that zombies are there. What's the name of that book?
Yeah,
Visions of Glory.
Or Versions of Gory, as I call it sometimes.
Visions of Glory.
That has created Lori Vallow,
Lori and Chad.
Chad Daybell.
Yeah.
Jody, what's her
Yeah, we
name?
still can't hear you.
Hildebrandt.
Jody
Hildebrandt, yeah.
Hildebrandt and her
Ruby.
compadre,
Ruby.
Ruby
Ruby,
Frankie.
Frankie.
And watching the documentaries, it was a matter of days or weeks before one of the kids was going to die.
Well, look at the lady who took her 4 kids out of the
Right, just
country.
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and let me tell you, the narrative that she offers goes right along with, I know she read that book because it goes right along with what the book says. What Ding Dong saw in his dreams. Can you hear us yet by any chance, Kendall?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You're in.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. The moment I connected, it killed my audio, so sorry about that. But yeah, that'd be such low-hanging fruit to condemn Visions of Glory. It boggles my mind why they don't do more good by snuffing out false doctrine.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
So why, as Gomorrah says, the LDS Church is the worst church on earth except for other churches? It is a race, right, to be the worst religion. That's sort of what they're doing nowadays. So I agree with that.
Yeah. How is our ranking now with perceptions of positivity toward us versus other groups? I thought we were like the 3rd least liked group of all religions. Like we're below atheists, I thought now.
Yeah.
We are not a very big church. Like you compare us to, say, the Seventh-day Adventists.
Yeah.
They
Tim
have.
Ballard read that book too. But go ahead.
Oh, he did. Yeah. And so did, yeah. That's it. We covered them. But yeah, the fact that, oh crap, what was I saying? My mind is fragile, you know. It goes off on a tangent. Yeah.
It was brilliant, Randy, let me tell you.
It was. Here's what I was going to say. How about we apologize to all those who are subjected to interviews in the bishop's office where, and I know we kind of alluded to this, but where he asks these young kids about masturbation and touching themselves when these young kids don't even know what the hell he's talking about.
That's right.
How about we apologize to them for scarring us for life and thinking that we're all sinners? If you know, I always thought that I was horrible for it. That didn't stop me, but I thought I was horrible.
The meeting should be more like a life coach, right? A guide, a guru, a helper, not a blame seeker.
Yeah, I mean, what does it do to a person psychologically to go to an adult, an authority figure, a male, and have them tell you if you're worthy or not?
Right.
Right.
Who are they and where do they get off?
I just looked it up, and it's atheists and agnostics, Mormons, Islam, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Satanists and Scientology are number 1. Number 2 is Jehovah's Witnesses. Number 3 is Islam, and number 4 is Mormon, and number 5 are atheists.
Thanks,
Wow.
Wyatt.
Can you post that in the chat?
Um,
Can you keep that comment up for just a sec, though, Gene?
Yeah.
Because it's funny. Someone, maybe this gentleman or female, someone posted something similar on my Facebook today. And do something positive with their lives instead of the laziness of looking for fault. That is Rich, Y is Gomorrah 3721, that you would call me lazy or any of my cohorts here. You know, I grew up giving my life, dedicating everything I had to the LDS Church. I taught, I volunteered, I moved people. When I was 19, I went on a 2-year mission and paid for the whole damn thing all by myself. That's what I earned my whole life for. And then after that, everything I did in life was geared towards the church. Until one day, something didn't set right with me, so I started studying. And I found out that I'd been duped. But to call me lazy? Are you freaking kidding me? I devoted my life to this organization. And where you get off telling me I'm lazy, that's really rich, because you don't know squat about Randy C. Watts.
Any of us, Gomorrah.
Plus,
Exactly.
and here's I'm going to channel
squat.
Gomorrah, and let's see if Randy, if you see what I do here. It's really only assholes that complain about other people. So I just called myself an asshole because I was complaining about other people by saying they're assholes for complaining about people, but I was just complaining about them.
Well, whoever made the comment, tune in Wednesday, because we're doing an episode all about what is better than the LDS Church. What are superior beliefs? What are things that all of us collectively have found that actually help people in their lives, rather than this vapid, empty rhetoric that comes from a church that saps our energy and our goodwill toward people and sucks us dry because it kills us with constant requiring more and more and selflessness and abandoning ourselves. So how about that?
There you go.
Maybe Y.S. Gomorrah could teach us.
Yeah, I actually feel
we should put our
called.
faith in.
I feel called to do this work. This is a lot of work. It's costly. We don't make very much money at all. We spend our time.
And we're not complaining about the church. We want to. What we're saying is what the church would have to do to get us back.
There are
Do you
a lot
understand
of
the difference, Gomorrah? Do you understand the difference? We're talking about what the organization would do to get us back. Number one is protect the children.
Right.
Number two is finances. Number three is apologize to the women and other races, everybody, for the damage they've done.
That's right.
Yeah, the church.
Why is Gomorrah still here?
The church has done so much damage to so many people.
Probably left. Gomorrah probably left.
No. Oh, Gomorrah's still here.
Gomorrah's still here.
Yeah.
Gomorrah, it's all made up. Okay? All religion is mythology. It was created by a man or a woman, and it ultimately will turn evil. Doesn't
and not
matter
only that,
what it is. Every
religion is based on some prior beliefs. So like the Judaism is based on other Semitic and what other beliefs were around there at the time.
Why is Gomorrah? Maybe you could join us in the studio here.
Yeah, Gomorrah, come to the studio and
we'd love to have
us.
you come in. We'll respect what you say to a degree.
Yeah, and also we live in an age where people use it all the time. We use apps to see whether we should go to certain restaurants or not. If all the restaurants had 5 stars, you wouldn't know which restaurant wasn't doing the proper job. And so we rely on negative comments, negative reviews from people that just trying to help their fellow humans out, right? If you have good reviews, then do your good reviews. And if people have bad reviews, they can do their bad reviews. And other people can look at the good and the bad and judge from it, right? Because we certainly aren't the only ones saying bad things, and you aren't the only one saying good things. And it's part of humanity to help spread whatever you feel is right.
Yeah, and I want to talk about her proposed solution to just serve Christ, and that would be the better good. How is it really helping anyone, including Christ, if he is so aware of us, to spend hundreds and hundreds of hours in a temple and doing vain repetition of things when we have so many other things that we could do to actually change the world. Just imagine if the church tomorrow said, you know, we realize we're repeating a lot of names and we're just going to have a moratorium, and we want you to do, you know, our Just Serve app for 10 hours a month or something. Like, how much something like that would actually benefit materially people versus all these things that you can't prove. They're you know, mythology, like Tim was saying, and they have no proof that they really make a solid difference in this world. If this was truly Christ's church, we would see so many more touch points to bettering the world and humanity than we currently do. That's my position.
I like that
There you go.
position.
Yeah.
Also, if you think that Jesus is running the church, why would he spend millions of dollars on I Am a Mormon campaign to have a future prophet just within basically
A month.
I mean, just not even like the numbers of years you are in primary school, in grade school, change everything, right? That doesn't seem like a wise way of using money.
Exactly.
So there's some purpose of the temple, Randy, that it's better the way it is right now than if it were used to house unsheltered people, because you know, some higher purpose other than people that need help.
A long time ago, I read in a book, this lady had a vision in the Carson Temple that she saw it as a place for helping people, and they would come and get food and stuff and things like that to help the people. It's a really interesting vision that this lady had. She wasn't a member of the church. She was at the open house for the Carson Temple, and she talked about how she saw it as a place of unity and helping people and feeding them, and it being a food distribution center, basically, like you were talking about. I
like Peter Higgs' comment. The Goat Herder's Guide to the Galaxy is what the Bible is. Right. What? Let's suppose somebody who's critical of our program, we'll say, in general, would you want to fly in an airplane where their manuals were 2,000 years old? Would you want to go to doctors that learned from books that were written 2,000 years ago how to do procedures?
Yeah.
The Mormon Church's positive thing is that they're supposed to have prophets that update the things, right? And so what has updating the scriptures done, Tim?
What do you mean?
Well, like polygamy, section 132, is that from God, or is it from
it came from Joseph Smith's loins.
Came from Joseph Smith's loins. And why is Gomorrah? You know what is real anti-Mormon? The Gospel Topics essays. We know it's anti-Mormon. The truth.
You talking about the essays on the church's website?
Yeah.
Right.
So many people have left the church because now, you know, what's anti-Mormon is having leaders lie to generation after generation about things and then change the tune.
Gomorrah, how does the church justifying hiding its wealth in 12 shell companies?
Right, lying to the government.
Lying to the government.
They preach to honor and obey and sustain the law, and yet they break the law.
We're not going to convince Gomorrah. She's already been proven to give bad arguments and not be able to rebut them. Let's move on. So I wrote down 3 things that it would take for me to get back to the church.
Okay.
Number 1, we've already touched on, is take responsibility and apologize for all the things that it has hidden and lied about. Like, absolutely reverse Dallin H. Oaks' policy of we neither give nor seek apologies from anyone. That is absolutely unhealthy, unproductive, gaslighting, and is counter to everything good psychology has taught us about healing and connecting. So that's number one for me. Number two is become 100% transparent in its financial house. How can you trust an organization that hides so much? If it was truly led by God, it would be proud to share what it does. It would not hide. That is an absolute admission of guilt, in my opinion. And then number three, go ahead.
Kendall, I'm sorry, but yeah, that's a good point. And let me assure you that if this was God running things, it wouldn't go to investments and making as much money as possible to save up for the second coming of Jesus Christ. For a rainy day, as they say, it would go to feeding his sheep.
The poor.
It would go to helping mankind, which is love, which is what Christ taught the entire time he was on the earth.
So, Randy,
Go
you're
ahead,
saying
Kendall.
by their fruits you shall know them?
Right. Yeah.
But if you think that your
if I
fruit
were
is
head of a
good,
church, I would say, okay, like let's get some people who know how to spend large sums of money. It's hard to spend that kind of money, but get them in there and ask the question, okay, what would go the furthest to helping the world with all these funds? We have $300-something billion, and we want to just help the world. Like what better missionary tool is that? Like I'm on the church's side here. I want them to succeed. If they turn into a healthy organization that is doing good, I want to see them succeed. But yeah, it's just totally asking you to think out of or speak out of both sides of your mouth to say, oh yeah, we're God's true church, and we're literally doing what the scriptures say not to do, which is hoard wealth and build these empty edifices and be selfish and not help the world when we have means to help. It's absolutely contradictory to everything the church stand for to have this much amount of wealth. Like, this is one of the biggest things Joseph Smith in his day preached against, was rich people and those that hoarded wealth and, wore fine clothing and all that other stuff.
and people
Any
high on their
evidence of wealth.
anthem saying they're really glad they're not as poor and as wicked as people
Everybody
like us.
else.
And how about we apologize to all the intellectual, hardworking, selfless people who are doing all they can in the name of helping humanity and in the name of
Yes.
charity?
So
How about we
this-
apologize to them for making them think that even though they're doing all of that, they're not worthy to stand before the Lord God, and enter into the gates of heaven? Because can you imagine? Oh, you don't know the right handshakes? Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to have to
You're
drop
not
down
getting
a
in.
few levels.
That's
This,
right.
this morning when I woke up, one of the first things I saw was a letter from the 80 Episcopal bishops. It's on Instagram. They read a letter about calling for peace and unity in America. And they're standing up for what those fuckers of ICE are doing to people, saying stand up for the truth and liberty and don't let this tear us apart like it's doing. Now,
And yet
the
nothing
church,
from the church headquarters,
nothing
Tim?
from the church at all. Nothing from the church at all. That's right. Nothing from church headquarters. We have other denominations saying ready to give their lives for what's going on with the immigrants.
Okay,
And the Mormon Church does nothing, has said nothing.
that's
about
right.
it.
Back to Kendall's list.
Okay, yeah. Number 3 is drop dogmas and any policy that puts the needs of the church above what makes an individual thrive. And I would start with divine command theory. I know dozens of my good friends still today where something is going on in the world, something's happening in their life, and they just freeze until they can answer the question, what does the church say? They have a complete fear of asking themselves, what do I think is right? And I feel empowered and able and confident to make decisions in my own life based off of my own internal moral compass, which is one of the most powerful gifts any human being can be given. And this organization teaches us at a young age to distrust that and to give that moral compass away to 15 old men who will tell us what we need to do. They go so far as to say the principle of revelation in this church is null and void if that revelation doesn't agree with us. Elder Holland said that specifically a few years ago.
Amen.
And yeah, and here on one hand, we remember being told that the glory of God is intelligence, but you better not use it. Just do what the prophet says.
Gomorrah, we have read the scriptures, probably more than you do. I took college courses on studying the Bible and where it came from. And when I was at BYU, the Book of Mormon and the Doctrine and Covenants and the Pearl of Great Price. So don't tell me I haven't read the scriptures. I've read them in 2 languages, actually a little bit of Hebrew too. So don't tell me I haven't read the scriptures. And you need to start listening to Dan McClellan's videos about the Bible, data over dogma.
How about them apples? Yep.
How about them apples?
That's right. There are some local churches that do better than the LDS Church, probably. But you know what? Our experience isn't in the Jewish religion. It's not in Hindu religion. It's not in any other religion but the LDS religion. We combine probably have maybe 200 years of experience in the LDS Church.
And it's not a question of what church do we like better. It's a question of what church don't we like better.
Yes, Gomorrah. I was wondering about that.
What?
Gomorrah's name is kind of interesting. So the Mormon atheist says, Gomorrah, if you're so righteous, why is Gomorrah in your name?
Yeah,
Right?
Gomorrah.
Well, it's a play on the Guardians of the Galaxy. Who is Gomorrah? Where is Gomorrah? I can do one better.
Okay.
Why is Gomorrah? So it's a joke.
So
Right.
it's not a Bible reference. It's a cosplay reference.
Yeah, it's a Marvel Cinematic Universe reference.
Okay.
But I as the episode on Wednesday will show, I think the church, like all of us, has good and bad. They're not black and white. Let's reject black and white thinking. I want to see a church that does sincerely want to help its members, and then I would want it to succeed. Even if I didn't rejoin, I just want anything to be better. And Gomorrah and whoever else is listening, all I ask is that you look at the organization and say, hey, can we do better? And to what extent can I make it be better? I don't want this to be a versus. The church does a lot of good. I mean, I think a lot of what they do has maybe ulterior motives, but if it ends up in good, hey, I'm all for it. But you have to admit, when you look at their programs and the way they phrase things and the way they take responsibility or not for things, that anyone who is thinking that this is a healthy, good organization that deserves their uncritical devotion has some serious issues with their critical thinking. And that's another thing that I would put in my list is I would have to see an organization that wants to empower individuals, especially in their critical thinking and ability to reason, not what it's doing now, in my opinion, which is actively suppress critical thinking and replace it with an overt epistemology that says you don't have to have evidence. You can just live your whole life based off of these superficial things or a feeling that you had one time, and that's totally cool and normal, and don't think past that. In fact, if you do keep thinking, then you're kind of being unloyal, because you shouldn't question God's mysteries and you should accept God's will and all these things that make you feel bad when things don't go right, and you start to have honest questions about the way the church says the world works. Like, that is really damaging to hundreds of millions of people.
And
That's
do
right.
not discuss them with anyone but faithful members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And we try not to have total black and white thinking. Just a few weeks ago, we had good Mormon values and memories as one of our
That's
topics.
right. That's right.
And we express other things, positive sometimes, like what our childhood was like and stuff like that, growing up in the church. And so, yes, there were lots of good things. We rue the fact that things aren't as good as they were when we were kids on one hand.
Yeah, they got rid of all the good things. They got rid of war bazaars. They got rid of family ward picnics, ward movie night,
Road
young
shows,
men, young women's programs, road shows,
dance
all
festivals.
those things, dance festivals, music festivals, all those things where when you were children are gone.
So here's something also. Why, as Gomorrah says, take your honest questions to God. Why would you take them to a flawed human? So, okay, Gomorrah, so you're saying I can pray with a question. Is Gomorrah somebody that has committed heinous crimes and should be put in prison? And if I get a good feeling about it, then maybe you should be put in prison, right? Or would you be really happy that no judge in America would accept my answer from God that you're a criminal, right?
Well, and are the bishops and stake presidents, are they flawed humans? Because if I'm not mistaken, our church teaches us that that's who we need to go to discuss any problems we feel we may have or questions that are affecting our lives. That kind of seems like they're flawed humans too.
Why
Or do
don't
they
you come
lose the
on,
flaw?
Gomorrah, so we can talk to you? Come on the stage.
Gomorrah's not going to do that, but he's like so many of them who, they
He's
can
a
poke and
chicken
poke and
shit.
poke.
You're a chicken shit coward.
Or maybe he doesn't have the setup.
He's got a link that he can click on his phone and use his phone.
If I was at my computer in my kitchen, I wouldn't be able to. I don't have the mic and camera set up, and that's okay.
I use my phone.
He can
Is
chat.
this
Everyone's smartphone has a camera and a mic.
So here, Gomorrah says every bishop, stake president, and prophet is a flawed human. Okay, so why then should we trust them, Gomorrah? This is a flawed program. We are right up there with every bishop, every prophet, every stake president are just like us. Flawed humans. Why not trust us? Believe us.
I can ask Gene his opinion of all the major questions of the day, and his answers in 10, 20 years from now will prove to be just as inspired as what the LDS president has said they are. There's no reason to exalt them above your own common sense. Look at their past history. They've gotten really big, really obvious, really serious things wrong. Any reasonable person can look at that track record and say, I don't think we have to give them any deference. And if you are continuing to do that, I would again question what is your basis by which you make decisions and reason, because you are not being consistent or reasonable.
Speaking of reasonable, I wonder if we could just take a 2-minute break and let me show you something that I saw Rebecca Biblioteca present today, and maybe you guys have seen it, but this slays me.
Can you zoom in on it?
Yeah, I'll read it because I can't zoom in on that actually because it's an image, but I can read it for you. This is a letter that went out in a particular stake. And it says, "Dear neighbor, beginning in February 2026, young men from our local congregation, the blank ward of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who hold the Aaronic priesthood, will begin collecting fast offerings from neighbors who would like to participate. Fast offerings are charitable donations used to help those in need. These offerings are used to care for the poor and needy and provide temporary assistance to individuals and families as guided by local church leadership and the Holy Ghost. 100% of donated funds are used to help families in need. You do not need to be an active member, nor a member of our ward or church at all. We just want your money." I just said that. "To donate, participation is completely voluntary. To learn more about their use and how they're distributed, consider visiting www.churchofjesuschrist.org. If you'd like to opt in, simply scan the QR code so the Aaronic priesthood holders know to stop by your home once a month on Fast Sunday, which is typically the first Sunday of each month. You may opt out at any time. Members are also welcome to continue to donate fast offerings online. Oh, that's sweet. But opting in gives young men permission to visit your home. If it's easier, you may also reach out to, and then it gives the name of the stake president or whoever. Those who participate will receive, this is what they get in return. Those who participate will receive spiritual blessings, including becoming more spiritually sensitive and closer to the Lord. We look forward to providing this opportunity for service and blessings to our neighbors. So they don't have enough money as it is. Let's start asking non-members to contribute as well. Let's increase that wealth.
The church lately has been doing a good job, and I'll tell why as Gomorrah 3721 that the reason why the church lately has been doing more charity things is because of criticisms. Because Dallin Oaks gave a talk about 15 years ago bragging about how over the last 10 years $40 million worth of charity was given, which equals like less than $1 per Mormon per year.
That's about what they make a day in interest.
And so when that was shining the light of truth on that horrific example of how such a wealthy church is doing almost nothing for charities. And now, a really good thing is the light the world, right? Is that what they call it?
Light the world. It's not that great. It's not that great. It's not that great a thing because the church counts.
Well, I'm just saying it's good to let people know that there are local things that need to be taken care of, and they're inviting local people to donate for those charities. What would even be better is if a multi-$100 billion organization would match all those donations to make them the good even do better, right?
Now that would be Christ-like.
That would be more Christ-like, to us, right? If somebody doesn't think that, it's okay for you to think it. We're just trying to get you to think, though. That's all.
And Gomorrah, I don't blame you. I mean, listen, I was a true believing member for most of my life, and I would defend the church no matter what, even if I didn't know what I was talking about. And I'm not saying that as a cut to you, but I'd go to the temple Easter pageant, and they'd have all these people lined up with signs saying Joseph Smith was a fraud and all that, and I wanted to fight them. I hated that, and I knew that they were lying. Well, I thought that they were lying. If I could go back and apologize to all of them, I would, saying, man, you had a good point. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for putting up such a fuss. And that's what you're doing. You are probably indoctrinated to the point, like I was, that you're going to defend the church at all costs. And in doing so, you think that you're defending the good name of Jesus Christ.
Why are you even defending the church? What has it given you in your life that you want to defend it for? With all the lies it tells you every Sunday. You're lied to every single Sunday.
And why, as Gomorrah says, the funds are reserved for a wise purpose. The problem is every single charity in the United States that is set up as a charity, except for apparently the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, lets people know what their goals are, lets people know what they plan on doing with their money, shows people forms and all kinds of information. They're transparent about how much money they have, what they're doing with the money. They want to be clear to people, so that they want to show people why people should re-give to those organizations.
What
The church
general
does
authority,
not
Gene?
do that whatsoever. What'd you say?
What general authority was it that said we are not a charitable organization?
It was just a recent. It was Elder Case, I believe,
See,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that's correct. Yeah,
a
right
recent
after he was made an
apostle.
apostle. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yet,
so
yet, why aren't they paying taxes then if they're not a charitable organization?
that's a good point.
But I want to
They
point
should
out
render under Caesar, just like it says in the New Testament. Go ahead, Kendall.
that Gomorrah is again engaged in fallacious reasoning because she would agree, or he, that other organizations that misuse funds or hoard wealth when they could help humankind, the same excuse wouldn't apply because she's already assuming that there is a wise purpose when she would see the same behavior in another organization, be like, no, that's not cool. It's only cool when my organization does it. So it's duplicitous. There's no principles in what you're saying, because if what you're saying is literally true, then all another church has to say when they have scandals and hoard money and misuse funds is say the same things, like, oh, it's a wise purpose. We don't know what God's doing, but we can't be blamed for it. It makes no sense when you really think about it.
That's right. There's two things I have to say about this comment. First of all, what God? Zeus, Zathora, Asera, Arjuna. You know, there are 40,000 different Christian churches in the United States, and there's at least 3,000 sort of general denominations in the world. Gomorrah, you probably don't believe in 2,999 of those gods that the other people believe in. Think about it.
Yeah, Gomorrah's parents were probably LDS, and that's why he is.
You are almost exactly like an atheist, because an atheist, the only difference between you and an atheist is they don't believe in one more God.
Yeah. You know, it might be a good show sometime, Tim, because I have asked many people, and this is such a sincere question. I'm not being snarky. What are some of the prophecies that the LDS prophets throughout the years have given us to help mankind, that have truly helped us out? Because I didn't see COVID-19 coming.
I can't think of one.
I didn't see the Twin Towers attack coming. I didn't see any of these things. So what I want to know is, these prophets, these mouthpieces for God, what are some of the revelations they've given throughout the last 150 years that have helped us out?
I'm pretty sure that women shouldn't wear two sets of earrings at the same time.
Oh, they shouldn't wear two different types of clothes, like cotton and.
Oh, that's from the Old Testament.
Yeah.
You get to be stoned if you're wearing two different kinds of
clothing.
Fabrics. And to keep you from masturbating, you can actually have your hands tied together or to the bedposts to keep that from happening. But you know what? I just don't see that as a real revelation.
That's right.
I don't know. I just, I've heard prophet. But
yeah. And so one thing is, everything's a negotiation. There are things in the scriptures that even Gomorrah doesn't believe in, just like we talked about stoning somebody that's either an adulteress, because no adulterers ever seem to get stoned. It's only women. And also wearing the fabrics, two different fabrics at the same time. Tim remembers all those things because he was a little boy when the Ten Commandments.
Boy when that happened. That's right.
He heard it right.
I was there in the desert.
Yeah. And so yeah, all those things there are things that you believe in the Bible, and there are things you don't believe in the Bible. There are things people believe in Mormon scriptures and don't believe in Mormon scriptures, right? Mormons, everybody is different. Everybody's a cafeteria religionist.
Yep.
There are no two people that believe the same things all the way through, right? in general,
That's right.
you could say the group of Mormons might be on a ship that's heading the same direction, but they might all fish on different sides of the boat. Who knows? But anyhow, yeah, if you have faith in your leaders, good on you. We lost our faith in the leaders, and so we are presenting things to the leaders because things have changed because of how does the church change now, Tim? What do they send out to a couple thousand people?
A survey.
A survey, right? They ask people, how would the temple ceremony be better? And then they changed the temple ceremony.
I wonder if maybe Brother Gomorrah or Sister Gomorrah has had their second anointing.
Or even knows what it is.
Oh, I'm sure they don't.
Yeah, do you know what that is, Gomorrah?
And so, yes, that'd be an interesting thing because certainly there are things that exist in Mormon land that the average pew members don't know about, right? Just for instance, why is Gomorrah? I don't know if you know, but probably the first quorum of 70, or is it the first 2 quorums, or how many quorums get paid?
They all do, but it depends on
area authority 70s don't get paid.
They get paid for travel and stuff. They don't get paid because they have a regular job also. They're not full-time.
Right, but anybody who's a full-time general authority gets money. Mission presidents get money. I remember hearing that we were a church that had people would preach with neither purse nor script, right? That the leaders of the church were a lay clergy and that nobody in the church made money. I was surprised when I found out that the bishop of our ward actually was the janitor at the same time in the 90s, and he made money as a second job, mowing the lawns and taking care of some things around the building, 12 hours a week. That's a second job. First I thought that was sacrilegious. And later on, when I find out that general authorities make over $200,000 worth of funds and benefits, it was shocking to me, right? Because they could just tell us. They could put out a thing that say, here's how much we're compensating each of the apostles, each of the mission presidents, each of the 70s that are in general authorities. They could just say it. They don't have to lie about it, right? And so, so we think that the bishop should receive compensation, right?
Right.
And so, and yes, they don't make that much money. So why did they lie about it? Why did they not say how much? Right? Yes, if general authorities are so awesome, they could be magnets in business world, right? They could be on corporate boards. They can be CEOs. They can make millions of dollars, right? And so getting some money is less than what they could do outside, is what we think. We're told. I don't know for sure. I know that one of the apostles is close to being a billionaire. He hasn't pronounced that money. He hasn't given it away to charity so that he could go through the eye of a needle and sell all that he has and follow Jesus. He hasn't done that. So
I wonder if Gomorrah has a brother named Sodom, because I think I knew those boys, Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah. All right. Gomorrah, anything else you want to say? I'm looking at the chat. I'm reading the chat.
Yeah. Thanks, Gomorrah, for engaging.
Please come on the show.
And I raise your hand if at some point in your life you would have argued with people just like Gomorrah has. I would have.
Absolutely. I was a defender.
And so we just feel like someday you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. That's what we believe someday. And that's why people talk, and we don't know everything. There's lots of information to get. Joseph Smith said there was good books everywhere to be found. He probably now would say there are good podcasts everywhere. Joseph Smith would probably be an influencer. He would probably have a show, and he'd probably talk about how bad other things were. He would probably criticize other things. Joseph Smith was somebody who did criticize people. And unfortunately, sometimes it was people that refused to be plural wives.
That's right.
So anyhow, these things, I go to church about 4 to 5 times a year. I enjoy seeing people that I grew up with, that I knew their families. I enjoy seeing people, striving to do good in the neighborhood. I just feel sorry that they're not allowed to learn more. They're not allowed to explore what truth is. And what did Dallin Oak say? That there are some things that are
Not very.
Or was that Boyd K. Packer?
Packer said,
said something.
We shouldn't teach truth that is not helpful. Not all truth is helpful.
Not all truth is useful, right? And so, so I always thought it was like you should be taught everything, and then you should either pray about it and try to use your brain to try to figure out what is true, Somebody says, recap what's going on. So yes, there are things that could happen that would cause Tim to go back to church.
That's what we're talking about. What would it take to get me back to church?
The church just needs to do what it tells the members to do. The church needs to repent.
That's right.
And what's the repentance process, Tim? Acknowledging
your sin, godly sorrow,
and then striving to never do that sin again, right? And being honest with all your dealings with men, right? So if you hide information from somebody, isn't that being dishonest?
And I believe it said that to err is human, but to forgive or apologize is divine.
Yeah. And so yes, if members weren't taught that anti-Mormons are people who don't believe in the church anymore, if they were just taught that, hey, there's a lot of difficult things that are out there, and there's a former mission president who's going to write a book. He's actually written the book. It's going to come out soon. He's going to come on our show someday, not this show, because I don't know if he can stand Tim or not. But anyway, he's going to come on Latter Daily Digest, and he's going to talk about his book. And his book is all about people's stories about why they leave the church, because he wants members of the church to realize that all their loved ones that are leaving the church have good reasons, and that you should still love them. There's no reason to not love somebody who's not going to church. In fact, for every one person going to church in America, the Mormon Church, there are 1,000 people not going to the Mormon Church. And the people who used to go are part of that 1,000. So there should be no difference. But unfortunately, Mormons also look at non-Mormons as future Mormons. And so they're nice to those people. And people like Randy and Tim and I, and maybe Kendall, although Kendall was mistreated even as a Mormon, that we should be shunned. We shouldn't be talked to, because it might rub off. We have a contagion, right? If the knowledge that you can gain by actually reading things is horrible. And so anyhow, Gamora's congratulating us on being the part that doesn't go to church. It's not for you. And yes, and another thing, Gamora, Tim was taught that the church was going to go through the world just like a stone cut forth from a mountain without hands, and it was going to fill the whole earth.
Gomorrah, you should know this, is that they excommunicated me for telling the truth about the church.
Yeah. So why would Jesus
Why
excommunicate
did they
somebody for telling the
excommunicate me
truth?
for telling the truth about the church, about its history?
Yeah. So maybe Jesus doesn't run the church, Tim. That's what I'm thinking.
Gee, think so?
Yeah. So that's the problem. If somebody thinks that Jesus is running the church, they're not looking at the things that we're talking about.
No.
Oh, Jesus can make mistakes because he was only human once. So anyhow,
if I can just offer a thought before we wrap up, but when I was working at the Walt Disney World in Paris and in Florida, one of the things that I noticed was that let's just take the housekeeping department, for instance. Huge at Walt Disney World. All these huge resorts have huge staff to care for the rooms and things. And I noticed that people were always getting in trouble for not doing their job right. The beds weren't made tight enough, or maybe the towels weren't folded exactly correct, or something like that. And guess what? They'd get this little ticket, this little violation for doing something wrong, and those would add up, and they could get suspended or whatever. And I presented this to my coworkers, other managers of other resorts at Walt Disney World. And I said, why don't we come up with a system to catch people doing something right and give them a benefit for that? Give them a little prize. Maybe it's a free meal at the Magic Kingdom or whatever. Everyone glommed onto this idea. And so we started doing that. We initiated this program. We'd walk in doing inspections or whatever, manager, food and beverage, all of this. And if we saw someone doing something right, going out of their way, we would give them a little prize for that. Didn't cost the company hardly anything. But you know what? The happiness of these employees improved greatly because they felt like they were doing something right and they were going to get rewarded from it. And I juxtaposed this with the church, who it's always you doing something wrong that's going to keep you out of heaven. You're not doing this. You're not doing
You're
that.
not doing
You're
enough.
not doing this. There's no reward in it. We have to just trust that our reward will come after this life. Well, guess what? Let's have something within the church of Jesus Christ that is rewarding to both the giver and the receiver. But that hasn't happened yet. But if it did, that would sure keep their membership strong.
amen.
Amen.
Well said.
Well said.
So yeah, we have family and friends that are still going to church, and we value their commitment, but we also value their health and safety. And the church has made great strides ever since John DeLynn started podcasting, ever since the internet started telling people what the real history of the church was. The church has had to make changes. Tim Rathbone used to mimic killing himself rather than spill the secrets of the temple.
Right?
Right.
Cut that throat.
And he only did that because Joseph Smith stole those things from the Masons, the Freemasons, right? That's all. And if you are an apologist and you think that the Freemason stuff goes all the way back to 2,000 years ago, 2,000 years BC, Solomon's Temple, or anything like that, you've got a lot to learn. That's all I'll say.
And by the way, Gomorrah, what's in it for me? You're saying that's what we're thinking? You're damn straight. That's why we're here on the earth. What is in it for me? What is it? What are the blessings for me? So good point. Yeah. What's in it for me? Yes, I want to know.
And yeah, a healthier church for you if you still go.
Right.
Because almost all the changes in the church the last 30, 50 years, 100 years have been because of outside agitation. In fact, you would still ask your wife or your husband or both, or if you're fundamentalist, then don't listen to the rest of what I'm saying. But ask if polygamy is something that you should do, right?
Yes.
If they want to do polygamy, ask if they should disallow people of African descent a place in the temple, if that's the right way, right? Ask what else. Ask if you should give all your money to church to start a bank and lose it all.
Should we let all of God's children take advantage of the blessings of the gospel? Or should we go ahead and keep the people of color out, the homosexuals, LGBTQ, the transgenders, keep them out? Because guess what? They're not children of God, right?
You should go straight back to garments from the neck down to the tops of the toes,
to the ankle and
out to the feet. I mean, in the hands,
ankles.
Right?
Yeah,
you should get
ankle.
A cinnamon whiskey bath for your washing and anointings prior to getting your endowment. All those things were part of the church.
Yeah, he's saying, no way. These guys are so full of it. But I get it. I get it. I'm just very, very thankful that we live in a world where we're free to choose how we want to worship whoever and whatever we worship. We're free to do that. And I say these things humbly in the name of Gomorrah. Amen. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, Gomorrah, why is of the 17, 18 million members of the church, why are only 3 to 4 million active? There are more inactive members of the church than there are active.
Right. And I say it this way.
Why?
There are more Mormons that don't believe in the Mormon Church than there are Mormons who believe in the Mormon Church. Here's another thing that you could say. More people on earth believe that the world is flat than believe in Mormonism. Just look it up. Ask Alexa, how many people in the world believe the world is flat?
Only about 1 to 2% of people worldwide.
Only 1 to 2%, which is like
a tiny fraction compared to the vast majority who accept the scientific
eight.
evidence of Earth's.
It's over 8 million people, which is more than people than go to church.
Are you wait? Okay, now I'm confused. Are you saying that the Earth is not flat?
That's right.
Great.
So yes, this I'm not saying a direct comparison that if somebody who believes in angels and that God talks to people and that that if you say some magic words over somebody, they will get healed, or that those things are equal to believing in the flat earth, but it's pretty damn close. Because we live in a rational world. We have cell phones that, you know what? They use science and technology. Nobody has yet cobbled together a stone that you can put in a hat and get communication from God. That has never happened before, and it won't happen in the future. This is not like a rock in a hat.
You said you studied scripture, yet you seem to never read Nephi, which described the members of the Church of the Lamb as being small in number. Yeah. Oh, you're really funny. That's funny.
Yeah, when I was at the MTC, I was told that because we were the fastest growing religion, that was evidence of truth. And now that we're not anymore, the evidence is, oh, we're small in number. Like, they have it both ways. It makes no sense. There's no principles here. There's no intellectual honesty whatsoever.
So here's something I say. It's part humanity somehow, and over hundreds of thousands of years, our genetic development has created a need for believing in a leader, for believing in something bigger than ourselves, for believing in community, for believing in things, for believing in a God, right?
Well,
It's part of our genetics to believe in God. It's part humanity to believe in God. It's part insanity to believe in somebody else's belief.
Okay. In the first place, Gomorrah, I don't believe in any of that stuff anymore. Okay. It doesn't matter to me. I don't believe in it. It's garbage. It was all made up by Joseph Smith.
Yeah, if
Okay.
I'm going to study scriptures, it sure as hell ain't going to be the Book of Mormon.
Right. So Tim can bring 100 people to testify that Joseph Smith created the Book of Mormon out of things that happened in his life. And I want you to bring all the people into the courtroom that have talked to God, and we'll have the cameras rolling and see what everybody thinks about it. But yeah, I mean, you could say it's just like in the scriptures where all the people laughed and then they get all destroyed at some point. But every generation since 2,000 years ago, almost exactly, have thought that Jesus was coming. Paul, the apostle, thought that Jesus was coming. Every single generation since then has thought Jesus is coming.
Right.
He
Yeah,
hasn't come.
Joseph thought it was just around the corner.
Yes.
Anyway,
The
I've
Church of
got
Jesus
to go,
Christ.
friends. But tune in tomorrow where you will
tomorrow-
find the better
tomorrow
belief
afternoon,
than what
Kendall
It's
will
like
enlighten everybody.
Thanks
It's
for
like-
coming, Kendall.
Empowerment.
when
Okay.
I was on my mission, and it's always that last door. That last door. You're going to find the last door of the day is going to let you in. You're always hoping that last door that night, when it was cold and freezing, when I was in Paderborn and Detmold and Essen, when it was raining or snowing, that night, you're knocking, this person's going to take pity. It never happened in 2 years. Never happened.
Yeah, and that's what
Never
a
happened.
rational mind says. So I would, what does rationality mean to you? I would say to somebody who's an apologist, because there are things that aren't rational. The rational mind says, what is the most likely reason for something? If you hear a noise in the night, is it most likely a cat going through the neighborhood or some other wild animal or something? Or did an alien ship land outside your house? Or is God stumbling in your backyard and didn't bring a flashlight, right? Things, what is the most rational thing?
When I hear a noise at night, it means that I've got a ghost in my house.
When I hear a noise at night, I wonder if it's one of the cats or the dogs.
When I hear a noise in my house, I wake up my wife and tell her to go see what it is,
Go check it out.
to protect me.
Honey, I
But at
heard a
least-
noise.
But at least I'm going to have a prayer. And thanks, wise Gomorrah. It might mean hardship for me to pull my pride down. That's right. It's a balance. It's kind of prideful, also to think that God talks to you, or that the guy that God talks to. That's kind of a prideful thing if you think about it. But I agree. We all have pride issues.
That's the ultimate
Okay.
name dropping, Gene.
Yes.
We don't need God.
name.
We have Tim Rathbone. Damn it.
That's right. I am your God. I am the only God that I will ever know. And you are
At
the only
least-
God that you will ever know.
At
And
least
we're
on
glad you're
Tuesday
here,
nights.
Father.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks.
we're
to
going to
Kendall
say
for
good
coming
night
on.
and come
Love
back
y'all.
next week, Gomorrah. Come back tomorrow too, when we do
Oh
our
yeah,
thing.
check it out, and check out some of our nicer videos. I've interviewed a very nice, very good man who was a mission president in Chile, and it's a great interview. I love the guy. He's going to help the church be better. He is a great Christian. I'll have you know. He believes, and he probably hates ICE because he did pro bono work for immigrants. And so anyhow, good night, everybody. We'll
Good
see you
night.
later.
See you.